Wildcats win this game against the Washington Huskies. Final score, Arizona Wildcats 99, the Washington Huskies 67. It was a close game. It was at first it was a close game. The first half, Arizona Wildcats had 44, and the Huskies had 41. So it was close right in there in the beginning. One thing that I wanted to mention while I'm thinking about it is Andrews for the Washington Huskies. The Arizona Wildcats were able to get Andrews into foul trouble pretty quickly, and so Andrews only ended up with 9 points for the Washington Huskies, and Andrews usually scores much more than that. I think he scores like 21 points a game average or something like that. So the Arizona Wildcats did a good job as far as drawing fouls off of on Andrews. Andrews did get quite a few assists though. I think he had like 6 assists or something like that. I can't remember how many assists he had, but he did really good on the amount of assists that he had. And another one that had really good amount of assists was, and this is something that I've never seen before, is that many assists from one player in one game, was Jackson-Cartwright with 11 assists. Parker Jackson-Cartwright only had 1 turnover, so that's very good. 11 assists with only 1 turnover. The other one that got, I think Gabe York had, I think he had 4 assists, and the other one that had assists, Kadeem Allen had 3 assists, I think, or 4 assists. So that was very good on their part. The other one that had a couple assists was I think Tollefson. Tollefson had a few assists, and it was interesting with Tollefson for the Arizona Wildcats because he made all of his 3-point attempts, which is unusual for him in any games that I've seen him play this season for the Arizona Wildcats. Tollefson made 3 for 3 from 3-point land, which was very good. York made some 3-pointers also, so that was really nice. And I was interested to see how, because they said that Simon was going to play. Justin Simon was for the Arizona Wildcats going to play probably a lot more because Trier is out for the Arizona Wildcats with his broken right hand. But Justin Simon only had 16 minutes that he played in this game, so there wasn't really that much of a change. I think his last game, I think he played 15 minutes or something like that. So there wasn't much of a difference. But the bad thing about Simon this time was, I guess he was excited and stuff like that, because sometimes excitement causes you to turn the ball over. So he had 4 turnovers in this game, which is the most turnovers from any of the Wildcats. I think the Arizona Wildcats had like, what was it? I think 14 turnovers total, and like I said, 4 of those turnovers were from Simon, were from Justin Simon. So, and it's kind of understandable. Justin Simon was probably excited, and wanted to play some more, and had good promise to play some more, but he didn't end up. He ended up turning the ball over 4 times, so I don't think Miller would be too happy about that. He did, I think Simon did score 9 points though. The Arizona Wildcats really had a defensive hard time or had a hard time defending against Dickerson for the Washington Huskies. Um, there was 7 defensive breakdowns um, when the Wildcats were playing against Dickerson. So that means that Dickerson scored off of seven times. I think he scored what? He scored, was it 4 or 5 times off of Tarczewski, and then he scored, I think 1 time off of Tollefson, but I think he scored like 3 or 4 times off of Ryan Anderson. So that was not very good. I'm noticing the little bit more defensive breakdowns by Anderson. I don't know if that's because Anderson is trying to do more or what it is, because he's having a breakdowns with the defense and he's not able to defend very well. But I noticed that he does harp on himself. He does get upset with himself whenever he has those defensive breakdowns, especially against Dickerson this past game. Um, I noticed another thing that was interesting to me is usually the Arizona Wildcats um, play against opposing teams that they have 3. The opposing team usually has three guards and 2 forwards. But in this game, the Washington Huskies had 3 forwards and 2 guards, only 2 guards. And like I said, one of the guards was Andrew Andrews, and he got in foul trouble so quickly that he wasn't really a factor. So it was pretty much forwards on forwards. And another thing that I wanted to say is that whenever you get, I noticed that some of the breakdowns were on Ristic. Ristic had 4 defensive breakdowns, I think. And some of the breakdowns, there was a breakdown, I think, on Parker Jackson-Cartwright. And, it's a forward. Well, Parker Jackson-Cartwright is a guard. And he's, 5'10", with big shoes, maybe 5'10", so 5'9". And then he was going against a forward, and the forward, broke him down and scored on him. So, that's not really that fair. But then whenever you get a guard, and the guard breaks down the forward, then it's usually speed that is what's causing that breakdown, and that's why the guard is able to get by the forward and score. And I noticed that was something that happened with Ristic and Parker Jackson-Cartwright a couple times. I do remember seeing Tarczewski trying to jump out a little bit as far as going out and getting the guard whenever the guard had those open shots, but it didn't really work out. So there was a defensive breakdown sometimes on that. But like I said, Tarczewski had a really hard time defending against Dickerson, and Dickerson is also a forward. So there's 2 forwards right there. So they should have been able to compete against each other. So hopefully Tarczewski can get a better. And Anderson and Tollefson and Ristic can all get better at defending against somebody like Dickerson. Dickerson is a big guy, though, from University of Washington. So that's kind of understandable that they had a really tough time against Dickerson. Another thing that I noticed that was interesting is that whenever one of the Wildcats score, immediately after they score, then it's like the defender that they're playing against takes it upon themselves to go back and try and score against that person that just scored. So, for example, if Ristic, and I noticed it happened with Ristic one time, Ristic went down and he scored, I I can't remember what he scored, or maybe it was inside shot, I think. Though he did knock down a three-pointer, so that was really awesome. But Ristic went down, scored one time on Dickerson, and then Dickerson came right back and scored on Ristic. So, it's like the offense, if you score on offense, then you're probably going to get scored on whenever you're playing defense right away. Uh, so that's something that you might want to, that I think the Arizona Wildcats need to keep an eye out for. Um, the first half, like I said, was really, really close, but then the second half, I think the freshmen just got tired for the University of Washington, and it was just too much. And then with Andrews out, and it was just too much for the freshmen. I think and that's why there was a breakdown. I think the Washington Huskies only scored 26 points in the second half, and the Arizona Wildcats scored 50, 53, or I think it was 53 points in the second, or 55 points in the second half. But so anyway, it was definitely a game of two different halves. Um, so anyway, the Arizona Wildcats win this game against the Washington Huskies. The final score: Arizona Wildcats 99 to the Washington Huskies 67.